Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty damning testimony from Travis McGivern, the close protection bodyguard for Johnny Depp, actually detailing the punch that caused the shiner to Johnny Depp's eye from Amber Heard, the one probably which was on audio of Amber saying, "Oh, I didn't punch you, I was hitting you." Yes, well, closed fist, that's a punch. So enjoy the highlight. We'll be bringing you more and more highlights during the day. Also, the fact that Amber Heard spat, or tried to, on Johnny Depp. Something which we now know, courtesy of her old personal assistant. She likes to spit on people. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Enjoy the highlight.
Morning, Mr. McGivern.
Good morning.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Travis Edward McGivern.
What is your current occupation?
I am a security professional.
And how long have you been a security professional?
Roughly 16 years, a little over 16 years.
Do you know the plaintiff in this case, Johnny Depp?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Mr. Depp?
I've worked for Mr. Depp for a little over 9 years.
And what's your position for Mr. Depp?
Security professional, personal protection.
Now, you mentioned that the arguments between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard increased after they returned from Australia. What arguments do you recall specifically?
One in particular stands out. March 23rd, a couple weeks after they got back, there was an incident in Penthouse 5 that I recall.
And what happened when you got upstairs to the penthouse?
So Mr. Depp was sitting in front of the front door of Penthouse 5. I greeted, he had some bags, I believe, like he was ready to go. I greeted him, kind of got a feel for what was going on, tried to get him out of there. As we were getting ready to leave, Miss Heard and Miss Lloyd exited the elevator on the penthouse level, so they came back up, and Mr. Depp and Miss Heard decided they wanted to continue whatever conversation they were having. So I let them into Penthouse 5. Myself, Miss Lloyd, Mr. Depp, and Miss Heard entered Penthouse 5. I tried to stay out of their conversations as long as they were peaceful. So they were having a relatively peaceful conversation. So Miss Lloyd and I stood outside the door of Penthouse 5, had the door propped open to make sure we could hear what was going on, but kind of giving them their space initially.
And you said initially, what happened after that?
So the conversation got a little louder, got a little more volatile. So Miss Lloyd and myself entered Penthouse 5 just to be around, to hopefully be able to not necessarily mediate, but just to be there. So yeah, entered, stood a little closer to Mr. Depp.
And what did you observe when you went back into the penthouse?
So the argument continued. There were moments of kind of normal conversation, peaceful conversation, but then there were also moments of yelling and anger from both of them. And at some point I witnessed Miss Heard throw a Red Bull can. So The loft is 3 levels. Mr. Depp was down at the lower level, which is the kitchen area. There's a middle level, which was turned into an office for Miss Heard. And then the upper level was where the bedrooms were, but they were turned into closets, basically, for Miss Heard at that time. Miss Heard and her sister at that time, Whitney, had come in. They were both on the middle level, the office level. And I saw Miss Heard throw a Red Bull can from her position that struck Mr. Depp in the back.
Anything else that you recall?
At that point, I moved closer to Mr. Depp. I didn't care that I was in the middle of their conversation at that point. I didn't want my client getting hit with anything else. So I stood right by Mr. Depp. The verbal onslaught continued from both of them. Mr. Depp was giving as good as he got at that point. He was angry and agitated. At one point, Miss Heard threw something else, either a purse or some sort of bag or something that she had up there. I was able to knock it away so it didn't hit him. At one point, she spit at him. Yeah, and then just a lot of verbal vitriol from both of them. At one point, Miss Heard and her sister left Penthouse 5. I imagine they went into Penthouse 4 or possibly over to Penthouse 3. I don't know. They were all adjoining. Mr. Depp went upstairs and rearranged her closet for her. Threw down probably every rack of clothing and shoes. Threw at least one down the stairs. Yeah, he was upset.
Where was Miss Heard when Mr. Depp rearranged her closet, as you said?
Can't say for sure, but she was not in Penthouse 5. She was either in 4 or 3.
Did you see Miss Heard again that evening after Mr. Depp was in her closet?
I did, yeah. She must have heard what was going on and not been too pleased. So she shortly after re-entered Penthouse 5 as I was trying to get Mr. Depp out of there.
And what happened at that point?
So her and her sister both came back in. We were on the middle level, so her office level of Penthouse 5 at that point. She was agitated. Mr. Depp was agitated. I felt it was time to get Mr. Depp out of the situation, so I stepped in between Miss Heard and Mr. Depp, telling Mr. Depp that we were leaving and that it wasn't up to him anymore. At that point, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a fist and an arm come across my right shoulder, and I heard and saw a closed fist contact Mr. Depp in the left side of his face.
And whose fist was that?
That was Miss Heard's fist, Amber Heard's fist.
And where was Whitney when this occurred?
Can't say for sure, but I'm guessing, or my best guess is behind Amber.
How did Mr. Depp respond when he was punched?
The initial look on his face kind of mirrored mine, kind of a look of shock, like what just happened, where'd that come from? At that point, I wasn't going to let Mr. Depp get hit anymore, so I moved him down the last flight of stairs to the lower level, and told him we're leaving. It wasn't up to him anymore, just for his safety. I didn't. Again, I had let him get hit by a Red Bull can. I let him get punched. My job is to ensure the safety and well-being of my clients, and I felt like I hadn't done that. So it was my time to do my job and get him out of there.
And so where did you go?
So Miss Heard and her sister left Penthouse 5. Again, I don't know where they went. I'm assuming they went through Penthouse 4. We're either in 4 or 3. Mr. Depp was not pleased with me, naturally. He went into the bathroom for a couple minutes. Miss Lloyd talked to him. And they came out and agreed that it was time to leave. So as we were leaving the front door, Mr. Depp got right in my face. He was wearing sunglasses. And maybe not sunglasses. He was wearing glasses. Pulled him down, pointed to the left side of his face, and told me, "That's your fault." And I agreed. And then we proceeded to the vehicle, and we left the loft.
What did you see on the left side of Mr. Depp's face?
There was already a nice little shiner. Definitely swollen and red. It wasn't black and blue yet, but it was definitely swollen and red.
At any point during this incident, did Mr. Depp throw anything at Miss Heard?
No.
At any point, did Mr. Depp throw anything at anyone?
No.
At any time during this incident, did Mr. Depp physically respond to Miss Heard?
No.